Oh, it's up to Europe now, man. If Europe wants to actually maintain any semblance of sovereignty at this point, it's going to have to come up from them. And knowing that organizations like the AFD have continued to make electoral gains, election over election, it does not give me a lot of hope that the European experiment can continue in its current form really at all. At this point, I think it's pretty fair to say actually that like NATO is on its last gasp of air as well, and Russia does not really seem all that deterred. I mean, we basically have the United States practicing a form of appeasement and trying to bully the allies that they openly scorn now into also practicing appeasement with Russia, which has made it very clear that they are marching west and north into the Arctic to control the entirety of the Eastern Hemisphere side of the Arctic Circle, because everybody, regardless of how much money they have, does secretly believe in climate change unless they are literally brain dead. And the oligarchs in Russia, just like the oligarchs in the United States, they know that they have to secure passage through the Arctic Circle if they are going to remain competitive in global trade and also remain competitive in the event of another global war. And that is very, very scary because the United States seems to be aligning itself with Russia more so than anybody. And that is certainly not a future that anybody who is in the high ranks of government wanted. Least of all because this kind of forces Europe in a way to seek allyship with any other power that will actually not want to invade them or abandon them, and that increasingly seems like it's China. It's crazy, dude. It's absolutely fucking crazy. Oh my god.
I'm very worried about what's going on right now, and I would like to stress one thing. If we are negotiating peace in Ukraine, do you really think that peace negotiation talks can only be between United States of America and Russia, without European Union or Europe being involved, or even worse, without Ukraine taking part of this? I have to be honest, if we want to achieve at the end a just and permanent peace, no talks for the peace and security in Europe should go without Europe and without Ukraine.
Europe now feels completely different to what it felt like 4 weeks ago, and feels completely different because we're suddenly realizing that we have spent 80 years creating an entire system that totally depends on the United States. We're vulnerable to the US in every way. We've built our complete security and defense infrastructure in a little American cocoon. We buy American planes. We rely on American tech. The 7 largest tech companies in the world are American. And at no point in the last 70, 80 years, certainly has the British foreign policy elite, or at least since Suez, really questioned whether America isn't its ally. And, we can get into that a little bit because, of course, that's central to the way that you and Tony Blair thought about George W. Bush, and it's central to the wars that I fought in Iraq and Afghanistan as part of American coalitions. And suddenly now we have entered a world in which Friedrich Merz is saying that America may be indifferent to us. If America shifts from being the unquestionable ally to something that is even neutral towards us, and in relation to Ukraine, and this is what's really brought it to the fore, potentially even slightly allying with Russia against Europe over Ukraine, then everything is suddenly turned on its head.
Who's calling that? Who's calling that sheep? Who's calling that sheep? Who's calling that sheep? Who? Hello, World Talk darlings. I want to talk to you about how significant the meeting today is between King Charles and President Zelensky, because it is unprecedented what is happening. Firstly, is the location that has been chosen. Zelensky is travelling to Sandringham in Norfolk, Charles's private residence. It's not in Buckingham Palace, which is a workplace for Charles. It's in his family home. This does not happen. He does not meet world leaders. He does not meet significant dignitaries in his family home in Sandringham. He meets them at his place of business, Buckingham Palace, and a few other palaces. Our king isn't allowed to show any political views. It's against, well, it's not constitution we've got, but it's against our rules. So this is the best he can do. This is huge. The second thing is the speed at which this has happened. I've never, ever known this to happen before in our history. Normally, the king will need at least a year, probably 3 years, to book in a state or formal visit of some sort. Indeed, when the letter was handed to Trump, the plan is probably sometime in 2026 he can come over, maybe 2027, definitely not this year. And thirdly, it's that usurping Trump. Wow, Trump's got to wait a year. Zelensky, this was organised in about 2 days. This just does not happen. This is our king sending the clearest message he is able to do because he can't enter politics. He invites a leader within a couple of days of being bullied into his family home. Thank you, Charles. You're showing your true colours right now. You're showing what kind of king you are. And our nation is proud of you. Thank you.
Breaking news. Turkey has now joined the fight for Ukraine. They have sided on the side of Ukraine. Turkey is the second largest army in the world. The United States is the first. They decided that they have imposed and suggested that Ukraine be a part of NATO, as well as they suggest that they not only should secure their borders, their line, their land, but also get the land, retrieve the land that Russia has stolen from them. They are talking about something more intense. The thing is surprising about Turkey is Turkey has a volatile relationship with Russia. They also control their trade and their ships of going through, which they can block. What we already know is that Canada, after the interview with Trump, Vance, and Zelensky, that Canada has decided to stay, they back the Ukraine. They have boosted up their military strategy and are sending troops over towards them, as well as monetary and any type of equipment. The UK has backed the Ukraine. Basically, they had a secret meeting without the United States, and all of the European countries have come together on that continent to back the Ukraine. What we're getting ready to see is probably the start of a major war, but this hopefully will solidify and secure Ukraine. I'm Janelle Antoinette, and I do only have a metaphysical story, but I have no one to talk politics with but you. So I'm going to go ahead and make another channel, because all I do is watch the news, is make another channel and bring you breaking news, and I will go ahead and open up my Blue Sky account and a Substack account, and I will see you soon.
And fair, that Ukraine will help shape, that's backed by strength, to stop Putin coming back for more. I'm working closely with other European leaders on this, and I'm clear that the UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air to support a deal, working together with our allies, because that is the only way that peace will last. Mr. President, in this new era, you're also right that Europe must step up. And let me tell you now, I see the growing threats we face, and so the UK is all in. This year we'll be giving more military aid to Ukraine than ever, and just this week I've set out how we're shouldering more of the security burden. We're already one of the biggest spenders in NATO, and now we're...
Trump is shaking in his fucking boots today. He ain't gonna talk about it, but he is. Let me tell you what's going on. 19 European countries, their leaders just stood shoulder to shoulder with Zelensky on the world stage. Literally, shoulder to shoulder. 19 European countries against the United States and Russia. We don't have a fucking chance. And why don't we have a chance? Well, because the majority of this fucking country doesn't support Trump or what he's doing, so they're definitely not going to support the soldiers who are sent over there to fight that shit. Those soldiers' morale is busted from the get-go. Now, I'm an ex-veteran. I can't help the dynamics you guys have created on the MAGA side. You guys did this shit, not me. I'm just calling it as I see it. So when America gets ass beat in World War III by Europe, we fucking told you guys so, man. Fuck around, find out. But Trump's a scared, quivering bitch today because he don't even know what to do right now. He doesn't.
I think, Tuama, that he's preparing the war against NATO countries next year. And I think so. But I don't know, I don't have 100. God bless, we will stop this crazy guy.
The Defence Secretary has said very clearly there won't be any US troops on the ground. What do you think about that? And can you just tell us, will you or anyone from your delegation be meeting any of the Russians, any Russians here? Donald Trump said there's going to be meetings here in Munich. Is that happening?
No, I don't know about it. But maybe somebody knows more than me. But by the way, let's start from the second part of your question. I think it's important because a lot of information before them about some meetings, some fantastic meetings with some Russians. I don't know who are they, and also with somebody with Russia and America in the Saudi Arabia, and a lot of such information. So I will be very clear. First, I see the order of meetings and decisions. First of all, I don't want to meet just with Russians, just to meet for what? No, we see the order of meetings. As I said, the order is United States, Europe, then Russia. Be ready to this meeting. That is the first. We are not against everything, but we are supporting this. Not everything, but this. This is okay for us. The second point, no, I don't know what the meeting are here in the Munich. I don't know. The third, yes, I will have official visit. We planned it. I have in Middle East. I have some visits, and be honest. And I'm not sure that security is okay with it, but be honest. But I have to answer. Otherwise, there will be a lot of mess in the atmosphere. Yeah. So I have official visit to Emirates with my wife, with the First Lady, because we have a big humanitarian program and the question of exchanging of prisoners. The second, I will have visit after this immediately Saudi Arabia with the same questions and other partnership with His Royal Highness. Then I will have meeting with my wife again. Quickly after that, it will be during 2 days or 3 days, I will have to meet with President Erdogan in Turkey. I will not meet with Russians, but I will not meet with Americans also there. I mean, this is my official visit to the country because they invited me with my official visit. That's it.
And what do you...
Basically, Russia is not going to invade Europe. This is the fundamental point. It may get up to the Dnieper River. It's not going to invade Europe. But there are real issues. The main issue for Russia was the United States, because Russia, as a major power and the largest nuclear power in the world, was profoundly concerned about U.S. unipolarity from the beginning. Now that this is seemingly, possibly ending, Europe has to open negotiations directly with Russia as well, because the United States will quickly lose interest, and you're going to be living with Russia for the next thousands of years. So what do you want? You want to make sure that the Baltic states are secure. The best thing for the Baltic states is to stop their Russophobia. This is the most important thing. Estonia has about 25% Russian citizens, or Russian-speaking citizens, ethnic Russians. Latvia, the same. Don't provoke the neighbor. That's all. This is not hard. It really isn't hard. And again, I want to explain my point of view. I have helped these countries, the ones I'm talking about, trying to advise. I'm not their enemy. I'm not Putin's puppet. I'm not Putin's apologist.